Emmanuel is asking about the pronunciation of COVID's name. It's equal to COVID, COVID.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is
We
Dr.
can,
Kovid Kumar here from Shri Kushalas University, Hanumangarh. I welcome you all, and we regret for due to technical we are delay.
It's okay.
Today is a very important session. This session entitled cyber risk in the pandemic of COVID-19. Uh, as you all know that during the COVID-19 pandemic, we all are working from home and we are all dependent on digital working.
I think we have lost COVID, the moderator. I don't know if the broadcast is still live or not. Give me a moment.
it says live right now.
Yeah, it says live. If it is so, then we can continue the conversation.
So what presentation do you have for us?
We have got him back. COVID, a quick question. Is this conversation going live now? In case you drop out, then is this visible to everybody? Can we continue from there? I think we have lost him. It's okay. We can continue the conversation. So he has started with the topic. Like we can start the discussion and probably everybody, as soon as everybody joins, so we can continue further. So the topic is the cyber issues, the cyber risks as in the time of this COVID-19 pandemic. So like, what do you think? Hey, Manuel, how are you?
I'm fine, are you?
Good, good. So we are live now, Emmanuel, and somehow we have lost our moderator, but the audience, we are visible to our audience. So we will continue our conversation as soon as everybody joins. So
Okay.
as of now, I'm continuing the discussion. So I have asked the question to Vikar, like in this time, what do you think are the issues or problems that a basic a layman user
Now
or
I
an ordinary user can face? Vic, over to you.
So I can, from personal experience, what you'll probably find, you've got more spam suddenly.
Right.
So that's what you're going to notice immediately. You're going to get stuff that you never expected from organizations that look familiar. I don't open everything, but I sometimes download the mail, go offline, and open it just to see whether it was genuine or not.
Makes sense. Yes.
Yes. Also, text messages. I received, for example, a text message from my surgery, my doctor, and before opening the link, I phoned the surgery to ask, "Did you send me a link?" So, because there are many of these going out as well, especially in this pandemic moment, you're going to get there are cases of so-called contact tracers sending out text messages, and they're not contact tracers; they're sending out malware messages, effectively.
Yes. Yes.
So this is the thing that the ordinary user will probably notice immediately. One other thing I'm being brought aware of is a shift in the network loads. So with people working from home, for example, those networks are now feeling the strain. So instead of, for example, in business districts where where networks are geared for this kind of activity, heavy video use, etc. That the ISPs are now having to prepare for a completely different operation.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another point completely, which is about flexibility in network traffic and how you manage that in a safe manner without just opening up saying, for example, you have access to a website and asks you, do you want to accept this cookie? Usually you just say yes, okay, because you want to get into the website.
Yeah.
And the same kind of psychological activity will happen as an ISP. We just want to get it online. We want to get them active. But sometimes you may take shortcuts in getting people active instead of spending that extra few minutes, making sure that all your safety checks are in place before you open up a larger number of connections. So
Makes
yes,
sense. Okay. Yeah, Vic, thank you. Actually, welcome to Gaurav and Dr. Behel. Actually,
Thank you.
COVID, the moderator was dropping out, so I
Uh,
started with the conversation, and we are live. And I asked the question to Vic, like, what are the cyber risks? And he was explaining one thing, which was spams we usually get and how to cross-verify them. And secondly, the network issues and like related to cookies and everything. In terms of like Gaurav, how do you identify such risks? Like if the spam mails are there, and if being an ordinary person, how should I identify like this is a suspicious issue or this is a suspicious mail for me?
Yes, thank you, Piyush. Generally, the people who are doing phishing, they're very smart. They will make the inbox, the email look like it has come from, say, for example, Microsoft. I get so many emails that, oh, this user needs this access. So being the administration of the organization or on my personal email also, they say, okay, there is an activity on your account. You may want to reset your password. So when I click on the link, you can notice in the URL, when you click on the link, the URL will not be microsoft.com/ whatever the URL you are supposed to go. It will be something else which will be masked and which will look like a Microsoft page, but will not be a Microsoft page. So similarly, when you look at the email address and you see the sender's address, it may say user.microsoft.com or Microsoft at some website.com. So it has not come from Microsoft account. It has not come from Microsoft's domain, but they've appended the domain in the username itself, which may
Oh,
make you feel that, oh, it has come from Microsoft or from Google or from Facebook, the company know you have an account with, but they're masking the email address. They are not; those emails are not coming from those servers. They're just making them look like they're coming from them. They also append the logo. When you click on the page, you may see the page which looks like a Facebook login page or a Microsoft login page, but the URL will be different. So you should take care of looking at the URL before you punch in your password, because they will grab the password and log into your account. They will steal the information if you gone to a wrong URL and put your credentials there. They are basically storing those.
okay. There are a lot of queries coming that a lot many Facebook accounts are being hacked. So is this the reason, like the phishing attacks, the way you are saying, are these the reasons, or like there can be any
There are
basic
multiple
precautions?
reasons.
Yes,
There are
please.
multiple reasons. One of them is like you're being phished on a URL which doesn't belong to Facebook. Another is an OTP might come to your account and someone might say, "Oh, can you give me a code because you won this lottery and we're going to transfer that to your account." And that OTP may be related to your bank account. It may be related to your Facebook account. But if you give them one-time password, they will have access to your account. Then from there on, they can do anything they want once they enter your account. So phishing can be done multiple ways. As Vic said, they may be sending an SMS with a link which you click and give the permission to your account. There may be an OTP. You may be going to a phishing page and punching your password, and they may store that in a database, and then later on they will use it to get into your account. There are various phishing attacks, and these are the three most common ways they generally get into your account.
Okay, moving to Dr. Bahal. Sir,
Yeah.
have you seen or have you been reported such kind of any attacks or in any general life? Have you seen or in news anywhere that in this particular pandemic have any attacks being
Yeah.
reported to you?
Yeah. Thank you, Piyush. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to all my friends over the globe joining this international webinar. And I'm really grateful to SKD University, Shri Kaushal Dev Das University, for organizing this such a marvelous event, which is very informative and valuable for the society. Because in this COVID-19 crisis or pandemic, we have seen that cyber crime attacks have increased. I was reading one
Yes.
report. Piyush, that they have been generating 6 billion spams every day. Which
Wow.
are only COVID related. 6 billion spams per day, only COVID related spams. And privacy and security is an issue when we are working from home because of the COVID pandemic. And cyber criminals are taking the advantage of that. They're taking the advantage of the fear that people have in their mind. They're taking the advantage
Yes.
of the
Yes.
vulnerable situation that we are facing. So, every day thousands of domains are being created, they're being created and they're being misused. Like, Gaurav said, they're used for phishing sites. People are logging their authentic information that's misused on dark web. That millions and millions
Right.
of the false emails are being sent to the people, and they're demanded ransomware, and ransomware attacks are being created, malware is being created, and the important confidential information is being stolen. Untrusty sites over the dark web are taking the advantage of this COVID-19 crisis. So I feel that even WHO name has been used in many cases. Because we are talking about the COVID crisis, cybercrime, and I was just reading few of the mails. Even my account is filled, as you asked, Piyush, with many mails
Okay.
asking WHO and PP kits, your mask, and these types of equipments are not available in abundance. Therefore, they are selling that items at different sites, which are actually the phishing sites. They steal your information and
Right.
then they misuse it. So what I feel is that once you work from home, because in this scenario everybody was working from home, majority of the people in the curfew and the lockdown were working from home, and we all need to have a hybrid policy. Basically, hybrid policy means our organization needs to have a systems in place, because once you're working in an organization, Payush, there your systems are secure, there your firewall is there your VPNs are there your security
Yes.
experts, networking experts, everybody is there with you. So you have a secured, and even your IP address is whitelisted. But once you work from home, you don't have that secured environment. You don't have your that secured IP. Even your IP is not whitelisted in your company, and it is very difficult to prove your identity basically. So we need to take measures. Even recently I was reading one magazine. The American U.S. Department of Defense and U.S. Health Department have given an alarm to all the hospitals and to all the medical organizations, NHS and all, that there is a great danger, because hospitals are giving emergency services, and if they are
Right.
being attacked by the cyber criminals or the hackers or the crackers, then they will attack the patients or they will attack the crime. Even Interpol has given a ruling that recently, that there has been 600% increase, in the cybercrime attacks during this pandemic. So we all need to handle this in totality, because in last 3 months, these crimes have increased a lot. Even in India, in Maharashtra only there
Yes.
were 400 cyber crimes filed because of the COVID, and they are blackmailing the people, because people are in anxiety. They really don't know what to do. They are managing their family, they're managing their offices, they're managing their housework, and they're managing their health also, and so on. They're making precautions also. So I think we need digital sanitization also, along with the
Yes.
physical sanitization over communities, over societies. We all need digital sanitization, so that we can all keep these people away, these criminals away. We have to make full proof of our systems, so that nobody can enter or log into our systems. I think, Payush, that's answer your query.
Thank you, Dr. Bahel. One thing to support your idea and support your concept. Few hours back, a massive cyber attack was hit Australian government and businesses. Can you see? It's in news, and it was just 2 or 3 hours back, and
Yes,
it
yes,
was
yes.
just because of COVID-19. You know,
Yeah. Yes, yes.
and
Piyush, you're right.
just to support your idea. And now I'm moving to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, we will be talking about your business information security related skills and what can be the particular precautions used by a business user.
Thank you very much, Piyush. One thing I'll say is that during this situation, the issue that businesses face is the awareness that their employees and their end users are having. So we have a lot of businesses, for example, small, medium business enterprises that rely so much on their workforce, and now they are being forced to work from home remotely. So one of the key issues or risks that we tend to face during these times is lack of awareness, lack of adequate security culture. So if a business doesn't have that requisite security culture, it gives access for attackers or malicious attackers to have access to them. So assuming working in your house or working from home, most of the confidential information that users are being handled or are having access to are now in the comfort of their home over presumably unsecure networks. So one of the challenges that organizations are prone to is one, how to secure data offshore, how to see to it that businesses do not have that issue with remote access. So one of the things is to secure your remote access. One of the ways is to look at how to advise your employees, or your customers. One of the ways is to see to it that you have multi-factor authentication, that even if they are
Yes.
connected to an unsecure network and is being compromised, there is a way to identify. And one also aspect is to look at the way of auditing, having a regular auditing. And during this COVID-19, we have seen a lot of businesses losing or cutting down their staff intake. And we can attest to it that when you look at the small businesses, they have an issue with budget. And especially when it comes to the security aspect, most industries, their budget for security is that much slim. So during this period where there's a lot of cutting down of staff intake and a lot of cutting down of budgets, it tends to affect the holistic response team, the IT team that tends to monitor these things. And these are possible risks that during this COVID-19, if care is not taken, it might affect a lot of businesses. And also looking at the part of supply chain, you realize that most businesses now rely on diverse supply chain. So threats can come from all angles. Looking at supply chain, say you have a supplier from, say, Russia, a supply chain from India, a supply chain from Africa, Ghana, a supply chain from the US. These are all chains that, irrespective of your secure environment, you have fault or you have loopholes in these networks that if attackers could, through efficient email, through a social engineering, will be able to enter into your network. So I think from a point of business, a lot of awareness is supposed to be done. Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
Uh,
Two
Thank you,
things I
Emmanuel.
want.
Uh, Piyush, some question is here. Uh, some person is asking, should we use CIA method for cyber security? Can you explain the what is CIA so layman can understand the thing?
Pavid, I think I will take this CIA question later on because I had this thing in my mind that I will be asking to Vikar about the updates first because there were two questions related to updates as well. Like should we
Okay.
update our apps and are we safe without that? With that, sorry. And before prior to that, I would like to include 2 points. One is ransomware, like Dr. Bahal was saying, that due to the fear, a lot many apps are available on the internet, which says that if you want to find the COVID-19 patient around you, you should download this APK file. And it's like you are visiting a website and you just download the APK and you install it, but there is a problem. It asks you about the authorizations, and I will show the screenshots. I have done that thing in my sandbox, and it is actually a ransomware. it will encrypt your phone and it will be asking for money from you, and then it will be saying that you should transfer this many bitcoins to my account, then I will be unlocking your phone. One thing. And second thing, there was a problem with WPS thing. WPS is a password phrase, a pin which is in the routers as well. So I will conclude my conversation with a thought that it's about how you actually see the things, how you handle the things, despite how secure is your device. Updating is a one story, understanding and thinking about the things logically is a different story. And Covid, I will come to your question of CIA, but I would like to
Yeah,
ask to Vikar, there was a question like, if I keep on
yeah.
updating my devices, will I be secure, or do I need to do anything?
My opinion is this: that you should only update from your legitimate provider at any time, and check carefully what the conditions are. Sometimes they attach these very long clauses that you have to read them, and if you don't, then it could open you up to privacy issues. Uh, but yes, I would say make your updates. They're there for a reason. They're there generally often to patch insecurities. So yes, nearly always patch, update.
Yes. So now I'm coming to your question, Covid. CIA is basically confidentiality,
Yeah.
integrity, and availability. So this is a very different approach, if I say, from an individual point of view. It's moreover related to organizational point of view, the CIA thing. Like, it's about how do you secure your equipments, or how do you secure your network, or how do you secure your things. If I say availability about my resources, it's not about that. Like, it's moreover about the organizational point of view. It's my opinion.
Okay. Okay. Now come to Dr. Behel.
Yeah.
Dr. Behel, can you explain how to common man understand he or she attacked by some hacker or he's under cyber attack? How
Yeah.
can understand a layman
I think
if
that's
he
a
is
very
not aware about the things about the how technology?
Yeah, that's very important question, I think, because as a common man, because they are not digitally literate, so they won't be aware that whether this
Yeah,
email that I'm getting, whether it's a normal email or it's a greedy email, you know.
Yes.
So these days we have seen our accounts are filled with multiple emails, and many of them are spam emails. As I told you, that 6 billion spam emails are generated every day, you know. So whenever you receive an email, you must check its authentic ID, and that ID should be accurately what you were looking for, first of all, and you should also, very important point, that you should take care for the robocalls. These days there are many robot generated calls that are offering you free offers, free test kits, free, there's nothing free in this world, so through a common man, I should see that you should not open any mail in which it is written free, free, and free. There's nothing free in this world, because if you give them access, they will steal your data. They will inject malware into your system, so which will finally hack your systems. And you should also check, very important, that sender's name and email ID. That's really important, because these days there are false domains, false. There is an activity called that you can generate random emails. That emails are valid only for few hours, and after that hours, that emails are deleted permanently into the system. So if you receive an email and you react to that, so my advice is don't open any spam mail. Don't open any mail from the unknown person which contains some attachments like executable files, or maybe some alluring PDFs, or maybe some important information. Because in this pandemic, we have seen people are giving them greed that if you click here, you will get mask free, and you are getting, because as I told you, nothing is free. So you have to limit your circle. You have to be beware of anyone who asks you for something which is not required. You have to give only the, because once you're online, you have to give only the authentic information, the required information, the minimum information. Like Piyush has said, the OTP should not be shared. The confidential information should not be shared. And before clicking any link on the website, you must hover over using mouse, and you must check whether that link is legitimate or not. And very important, we all should have legitimate security tools in place like antivirus, anti-spams, anti-malwares, because they automatically restrict many unwanted mails. Because as a common man, it will be very really difficult, super difficult for us to limit that. Some day we may be cheated. Even my account, I'm getting hundreds and thousands of mails every day. It's difficult for me to decide, but I have to take my decision. So I only open the mails which are from my authentic sources or my friends. So you have to be very particular about what type of information you're sharing online. What is your cyber hygiene, I should say. Your systems should be digitally or sanitized with the anti-malware or antivirus and all that kind of activities. And once you limit your activity only to the authentic IP, whitelisted IP, your authentic email, your authentic domain, there's a very less probability that you will be cheated. And these days, as I've already told you, only in these 3 months, there has been 600% rise into the cyber crimes. And this post-pandemic also, we have a lot of things to learn for the common man, because this is not be a new normal. Our new normal will be a cyber security new normal, in which we have to take care of the cyber security automatically. Pre COVID era, very few people think about cyber attacks and cyber crimes. But post COVID-19 crisis, everybody will think of this cyber security automatically. It will be inbuilt into every system, whether you're working from home, you're working from office, whether you're working with the children. Once you're working from home, you have to be very careful. Like recently, we saw that Zoom app was hacked. Many profiles were hacked. So, what type of tools you're using?
Yeah.
What type of VPNs you have? What type of antivirus softwares you have, what type of protection mechanisms you have. So very important, I would advise to all to use multiple multiple factor authentication. Like in Gmail, we are using two-factor authentication in all the apps and in all the portals. These days, multiple factor authentication is being enabled. Even on iPhones, we have multiple factor authentication. So multiple factor authentication do protect you to some extent, although they also don't protect you in totality, because this dark web is looking at the innocent people, as you told, who are illiterate, who are digitally illiterate. So they are looking for that people, and they are simply making them fool and getting the information and stealing it. So I feel that people should be made more aware. The workshop type of the webinar you're doing, this will help the community, help the common man
Yeah.
across the country, or across the continent and the world, to know how we can save ourselves from the cyber threats. Because with the increasing digital usage, the digital footprints of the cybercrime have also increased. More the digital usage, more the cybercrime. Less the digital usage, less the cybercrime. And in this COVID crisis, we all have been more on digital. We have been using more of the emails, more of the digital media, more of the video conferencing to connect to our offices. So that means we are more prone to the attacks. So as a common man, I feel that we should or we be very vigilant, and we should keep on attending these kind of webinars, because in 1 hour or 45 minutes you get a lot of information from all the experts across the globe. So I'm really grateful that these kind of events are being organized. So I hope this
Yeah.
answers your query.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bahel. Now I come to Gaurav. As you know that nowadays anti-China campaign is going on in India, and most of the people are saying on WhatsApp, yeah, and you have also seen the message. You delete the or uninstall the applications from operated through China, and maybe people are uninstall the application operated from the China, but new applications they are installing, maybe they become the victim. So how can they distinguish the things? These applications are useful them or useful or not for their
Uh,
Gaurav?
thank you, Dr. Kovid. I think most of the applications, when you download them from a authentic store like App Store from Apple or Android, they are pre-scanned by the authorized companies like Google and Apple to make sure that those applications cannot steal your data. But sometimes the data is provided by you to the application, because there are security measures taken by the operating systems like iOS and Android, there where if an application is looking to access data from your phone, they will ask you for your permission. And it is very important to read the content of the permission and decide whether you really want to give away the access to that content or not. For example, WhatsApp, when WhatsApp gets installed, it looks for all the contacts in your device, sends all the context in all your contacts to cloud, and makes matches whoever is on the WhatsApp and makes them your friend. So they won't be able to do it. WhatsApp will not be able to do it unless until they have access to your connects or your contacts within your phone. So, and to do that, they will ask users permission. So if user does not want to give the permission, they can say no. But sometimes that means they cannot also use the app. So it's more about the education, that what are you giving away? What are you allowing that application to access from your device? There are safety measures taken by operating systems and the companies like Google and Apple, that information is required for you to use the application. And in that case, the permission pop-up will be asked or to the user to provide permission for that access. If user does not read and just gives the access, they may be prone to exposing the private information which they don't want to. Sometimes an application may want to get access to your image library or to your camera roll or your images, and you may not understand what they will do with those images. They might be selling the personal data and information in those images. So if you download the application from authentic stores, I think you'll be safe. You need to be careful about the permissions to give you to that application and what you allow that application to access from your phone. Anyone else has any comments on that?
Okay, what I will do, I will share my screen. I have done some research in my sandbox. So I'm
Mhm.
going to share my screen and I'm going to share the screenshots. I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Not yet.
So, okay, it's visible, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
So
visible.
this, yeah. So this is a sandbox and I actually installed one application which was downloaded from random resource. And this is named as coronavirus 19. And it says that it's a tracker and it will be tracking the people near to me who are infected. And it asked me that do I want should I will I be allowing to run it in the background, and if it is running in the background, something is wrong, something is not good for me. And on the next screen it tells me to allow to activate one for the alerts and second is for accessibility, and it says that it will be requiring these alerts or these permissions to access the people near to me. And if I get into the details, it is asking for activate this device admin app. This is a kind of suspicious thing. People don't look into this thing. If any application is actually asking for a permission of device admin, then it's not good. It's not good for you. You should not be allowing any random app with the device admin rights. Secondly, it is asking about the accessibility. That means it will be able to access your apps. Even if I get into the details, it is allowing the full control of my device. That means it can view and control my screen as well as it can view and perform actions, which is suspicious. It's not good. Again, if I move further, then both the permissions have been given. Then The app is there, but in the very next moment, I am getting the ransomware alert that my phone is locked and I will have to pay the bitcoins to these guys of $100. Then only my phone will be unlocked. This is quite problematic. But I got the code of the application and I got the key and I unlocked the phone. It was a very basic application, so I could do that. But it's not possible in every case. Like you cannot unlock every ransomware. This is my point of view.
Yeah, Piyush, shall I add a more one line to it?
Sure, sir.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, please, sir.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, even I may add to this. Even I was looking for one, service in that it was showing, that we have COVID maps. It was showing that all over the world map, and if you click on the country, you can check the number of COVID patients in your country or the state or the city or the village or the area. And everybody is very excited in this crisis that I must go and check. That how many people are infected here, and it similar kind of activity. It also tells you that at what distance the people are near to you. And once you install that app on your mobile phone, it's basically stealing all the data. It's basically a malware. Even US Department of Defense has blacklisted that portal recently, but it was working till 31st of March. But that 3 months, it may have affected a lot of people. So as I told you, friends, that nothing in this world is free. Even if you have to look for the COVID information, you should go for the government dash panels, the state dash panels, or the country dash panels, where you get the authentic information. And you should always have a directory where you should have the authentic links from where to open what, so that even if you have to open, let's say, SBI website, a few years back, many of the SBI cards were hacked, the ATMs were hacked. They were being, generated like that. So always you should open with a proper writing, don't click on the advertisements, don't click anywhere. You should have an authentic directory of all the whitelisted addresses from where you can just, copy and go further. So we have to be very careful because in this COVID crisis, like the app you shared with us, like the COVID maps, because even I'm cautious. I'm checking the count every day, So sometimes I type on Google, maybe count in Africa, so I may get wrong information. So we have to be very, very careful because this dark web is standing with hands open, So that's it from my side.
Thank you, sir. Vika, we have one question from audience. Sir, what is the MITM attack and how a common person can save from such attack? Can you explain it?
Okay, this
Vika?
is hello. Oh,
Yeah.
You are
Please.
audible,
Yeah.
Vic. You are audible. Yeah.
so this is when your stream between say from your laptop to the web server where you're getting the web page from, for example, is intercepted, and so there is some entity there that will that is either reading what you're doing or is feeding you the wrong information. So essentially, it's exactly that. It's in layman's terms, it's somebody posing as the correct entity, some incorrect entity is posing as the correct entity, and they're there for either a malicious purpose or for a sniffing purpose to just read what you're doing. And there are many different types of man-in-the-middle attacks. I won't go into them just now. How do you avoid them? I'd say essentially you just have to follow some of the rules that we've been talking about now. Just check the links you're going to, check your authorizations, and also, for example, if you're working from home and you're working with you as a home worker are at a remote site, and you're connected to your business, give them a phone call. So there is that extra physical sense of this is the information I'm sending you. So you make sure that each way, even though you've sent an email or you've sent some kind of transmission or you've received some kind of transmission, you've got a physical source to say, yes, this is what I received. Whether someone is sniffing or not, that's much more difficult to find out. And as an ordinary person, it's unlikely you'll ever be able to know whether someone else is listening in. But really, it's about making sure that your end entities know what's going on. There are software-defined processes for businesses to make sure that you can work remotely and securely, but that's up to the business to set this up. How else do you avoid a man-in-the-middle attack? It's a very different thing. You're unlikely to get ransomware as a result of man-in-the-middle attack. You're more likely to be phished as a result of a man-in-the-middle attack. That's all I can really tell you on this level at the moment. Yes.
Okay, Emmanuel, we had a lot of discussion on how we affected and how do we come to know that. And can you suggest some more tools so laymen can use that tools and protect from their Wi-Fi and computer and all the things? Emmanuel?
Hello? Yeah, can you repeat that? I didn't get the question again.
We had a lot of discussion on how we affected and how we come to know. But can you suggest some tools? How do we protect our Wi-Fi and computer and laptop and mobiles? Some tools. Can you share some tools?
First of
a
all,
layman can use.
To a layman, I would say one of the tools that you could use to secure yourself during this period to prevent attacks from malicious actors is to have an updated software operating system. That's the main point, that your operating system is always updated. You make sure that your patches are up to date, and also have an endpoint firewall. And I think recently we were talking about, me and Piyush were talking about some endpoint firewalls you could go into and install on your system that checks the traffic that goes out of your network on your network interface card. So assuming you are using your laptop, whatever that moves from your interface card to the server, it's being monitored, it's being monitored, it's being restricted. And also something like using a browser, having a container in place where whatever that you are doing is within a secure environment. One thing I will also say is having a multi-factor authenticator, that whatever a process, say you're logging into an email, any unauthorized access, you'll be notified. And these are the things that as individuals at endpoints we are supposed to do. And to touch up on what Vic has said, with man-in-the-middle attacks. So with man-in-the-middle attacks, they seek to pose as original source or original entities. And in that, they extract information from you to proceed to initiate their further mysterious means or to elicit information out of you. And as from the business point of view, or as an individual, what you could do is to segregate your network. Make sure that the critical services that you have in your networks are segregated. That even if there is a breach or through a man-in-the-middle attack, an attacker is able to have access to your network, the critical information or the critical infrastructure of your business is kept outside. Okay, so we have employees or we have individuals working from home. One of the ways to segregate your network in a way that you're all connecting to a VPN server, and in that you have a point, you have a DMZ, you have a firewall already there to monitor every traffic that gets into your network. And one of the ways that I think right now businesses and organizations are supposed to be keen into is the continuity. So Piyush said something on the CIA, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And during this crisis, one of the things that we face is availability issues. So if there's a ransomware attack, it means availability issues are very, very high. Users will not be able to access whatever they are supposed to access, and it puts businesses at risk. Various supply chains are at risk, and to do this, you should have a resilient business continuity. That should this happen, what are we going to take? Should that happen, what are we going to use to mitigate that? So, from my point, that's what I'll say.
Thank you. Dr. Behla, I come to you.
Yeah,
You are directly involved with academia. And
yeah,
due to the lockdown, school teachers, college, university teachers are teaching
yeah.
through the online mode. And they are also attacked by the cyber hackers or cyber attacks. So how can
Yes.
they protect?
See, that's a very big problem, you know. During this lockdown, we have been using various, video conferencing apps, various tools like, Zoom, Blue Jeans, and so many tools, But even Government of India has issued an advisory that that these tools are not safe, The Cyber Coordination Center of Ministry of Home Affairs has issued a 16-page advisory, and government is warning the society that even the computer emergency response team has cautioned the vulnerability of this app. So what I advise is that whenever you have to use this app, you should keep on changing your passwords frequently. Number one. Number two, you should not use that email that is linked to your bank or the financial systems. For banking or financial systems, what I advise you is that you should have a separate dedicated email which you should not use on the social media. That's very important, because if that email is being hacked, it doesn't disturb your financial system. So it's very important that we keep separate emails for these kind of, because there was a lot of problems. Even we know about the Zoom bombing technique. That in meeting sort of suspicious people were entering. Because the meeting passwords, everything was being made public, and many people were entering from many domains. Rather, many meetings didn't have any password protection. So even if we have to use that in emergency, what I advise is that one should go for the paid connections. Even Zoom is offering a secured paid connection, which is highly secured. Everything was being made public, and many people were entering from many domains. Rather, many. Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we have to be very cautious. We keep on changing our passwords again and again, So we should keep our system, the malware free. That's very important, because on the system that is storing your cookies, that system should be malware free. Because if your system is malwared, then any app or any portal is not at all safe. Even we face problems. We start using many other tools like, other than Zoom, like WebEx Cloud, Cisco WebEx, and many other tools. But all the tools are prone to this hacking or the attacks by the cyber criminals. So the only way is that we keep our systems clean, we be aware, we open through a separate email which is not your financial email, and we have to be and keep on changing passwords frequently. And the password should also be complex as per the complexity rules. So I think one should be cautious with these things.
Yeah.
Ovid, can I add something?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, please.
Okay. About the MITM attack, I think the channel should be secured. But prior to that, there was an issue related to WPS. I started with this conversation earlier, but I could not say. But there is a facility by the modem itself that is called WPS pin facility. There is a button behind the modem. You press that button, and on the phone you enter the WPS pin, and you can connect directly despite sharing the passphrase with anybody. But this facility actually became the vulnerability uh, by the way somebody actually designed an app and entered all the the pin the pins of every router, and anybody could brute force the router and could enter into your modem. This thing was escalated, and later on this feature was disabled in the new routers, as well as the app has been removed from the Google Play Store. However, still, there are people who are using the old routers. I would suggest that they should disable this default pin WPS facility, and they should not be using this feature unless they are actually aware of what this thing is actually all about.
Okay. Gaurav, can you share the some idea behind law enforcement agencies? What is the role of the law enforcement agencies in this, in cyber attacks, at national level as well as global level? Being an industrialist, how do you see the role of the law enforcement agencies? Uh, sir,
Gaurav, your
please
mic
switch on
is
your
off.
mic.
Sorry, I was muted. So generally, when your personal information or your business information or your financial information is, compromised, or there is some updates or there is something which you cannot roll back yourself, you will have to contact the authorities to get it in the right place. So, say for example, someone got hold of your account, they changed everything, and you cannot get it back, right? You cannot get your account access to your account back. You may have to go to cybercrime branch near your place and lodge a complaint to get an official letter from authorities to go to the company which provides you the service to get your account information back. And if your information is, your personal information is spread and is used across in the internet or on the globe, and you are being attacked or blackmailed because of that, you can always file an FIR and go to cybercrime and lodge a complaint about it. That's the For a layman, that's how far I would go, and that's what you may have to deal with. For businesses, there are many other things you can do. There are cybersecurity insurances available, so that if your data is compromised and your vendors are suing you, or if you're getting your company, your business is at risk because of that leak, you can insure yourself and make sure that that insurance is in place to cover your losses because of these leakages. Anyone, hope that answers the question, and you know you guys can add to that.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
add a
thank
line
you,
to
sir.
that.
We had already. Please, sir.
Yeah, because there are national cyber crime reporting portals also in every country. One can always log into that also, and there are cyber police stations also. We all can take help of that also.
Okay. Thank you. We had already 50-minute pass. We have a last 8 minutes. So we start the concluding remarks. We start with Vikar Ahmed. Can you conclude the webinar within 1 or 2 minutes? Vikar?
Hello.
Yeah.
I'd like to say that you need to and check everything that you do. Slow down. Check who you're sending your email address to. Don't post your personal email addresses on chat boards, for example. These are things that I think generally we need to think about more carefully now. There are more criminals active, and we need to protect ourselves.
Thank you. Piyush, I will ask you one question from audience. People are asking that they are nowadays filling up many registration forms. Is it safe or not? Please answer this question and also conclude the webinar within 1 or 2 minutes in your words.
Covid, I believe that emails for your business things as well as your like the basic things like advertisement and marketing should be separate, what I believe, because if you are sending a bunch of emails, obviously you will be getting a bunch of spams in reply. So you are sending your email to a database. So I believe to stay safe, to stay secure, you should be keeping your email IDs separately. One thing, answer of the question. And to conclude my remarks, to conclude this webinar, I would say that whatever we are doing, carrying forward the idea of Vikar, whatever we are doing, we should be actually doing that thing consciously. Even if I'm using a computer, then also I should be reading the error message. Do I need to click on OK or do I need to click on cancel? If I use the computer this way, definitely I should be using my mobile phone and I should be doing my digital transactions this way only. Like I showed the example of mobile phone app. So if I am installing the ransomware app, this is the basic English that it is asking me permissions for encrypting my storage. Why should I give the access to an app to encrypt my storage? So I should be this should be a bell for me, an alarm for me that I should not be installing such application. In case I face any difficulty, then I should be taking help of any other person. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Piyush. Emmanuel, can you conclude the webinar in 1 or 2 minutes?
So I would say, first of all, with the issue of cybersecurity or risk that poses to businesses, one of the things that businesses are supposed to review a lot is their business continuity plan and how they are able to check in on the events that go on, put in place a responsive and a resilient cyber team that addresses issues that keep upcoming, and making sure that whatever that happens, they are not having that one point where it's only their security team that's addressing these security issues, but it should be a holistic approach where employees, staff, and end users are all involved. So right now we have an issue where COVID-19 is putting everyone in their homes, and it's the user that has to be more security aware. So I think being more security conscious and having and promoting security awareness and training programs for not just the organization staff, but also for end users will be a beneficial and a way to control this issue. That's what I would say to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Goro sir, we have one question from audience. What about if forms are attacked by phishing techniques? Please answer this question and also conclude the webinar within 1 or 2 minutes, please.
Yes,
Goro,
forms generally can have phishing information if you are at a wrong website. As I said in the first initial part of the webinar, that you need to always check the URL of the web page you're browsing from, and that should give you an idea of whether you're filling the information at the right place or not. If you're at the wrong web page and you fill your information, that may be used against you, and that may not be right thing for you to do. To conclude, I think, I know everyone is giving advice how a layman can protect themselves. I want to say that with the Make in India movement, where everyone is saying, uninstall Chinese apps and build applications in India, I think businesses who are actually building these applications will have to take a lot of responsibility when you're building in India, because companies like Google's and Microsoft, they've been building these products from quite a long time, and they have a lot of experience, a lot of expertise in that matter. But if we start building them in India and don't do the right job, or don't do a good enough job of protecting the data, we are not really protecting ourselves. We are actually exposing ourselves by taking the matter to our hand where we may not be expert in that matter, and then our databases, our information will actually be more exposed than currently it is. So to the students who are going to build future products, and to the students who are going to build applications for India, I must say that you guys need to educate yourself. There are many security aspects when you build applications, and you can take care of things like OWASP. These are very basic things. Like you need to learn OWASP and how it protects your application when you build a web app or a mobile app. So I think with the movement, we also need to take a lot of responsibility on building the right kind of application, secure application, so that rather than protecting ourselves, we are not exposing ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gaurav. Actually, we had planned to opening the session by the comments of Dr. Bahel, but due to some technical error, we are unable to do that. So now I request to Dr. Bahel, please conclude the whole session.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it was very informative session, and I think it has helped the community, the society, and the people at large all over the world in understanding what the cybercrimes are and how they are affecting our day-to-day, businesses. And what I feel is that for the organizations, first of all, they need to follow a hybrid policy, as we all discussed. So whether the people work from office or they work from home, there has to be security culture, the digital security culture. We all need to follow that because pre-COVID era, uh, people were working from home. There was no problem of security. We were not talking that because of the increased cyber risk, because of the digital activeness. So that has become a major issue. And to the people, in common people, I advise that they should use authentic apps, authentic websites, authentic domain names, and authentic email IDs. And whatever you do on the websites, make it sure that if you're making a financial payment, ensure that the site is HTTPS. It's a secured site, and its encryption certificate is in place. And it's a good quality encryption. Not only encryption, it should be good quality encryption, so that your credit card details, your debit card details, your online banking details are not being compromised. And as a responsible citizen, we have to be digitally alert. Our systems have to be digitally sanitized, and our community we need to create awareness to the people for the digital cyber awareness, so that very less people are being penalized for being attacked by the dark web people. And seminars like this, organized by Shri Kaushal University, are very useful, for the common people across the world to understand what cybercrime is and how we can protect ourselves from the cybercrime. And I thank all the people, all the organizers for this. And in the end, I will end with a quote of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, the ex-president of the country: "The difficulties in our life do not come to destroy us, but they help us to realize our hidden talent and the potential and the power. Let the difficulties know that we are too difficult." And we, as people of the country, have a lot of potential, as Gaurav said. We have a lot of potential to have a lot of innovations, in the form of technology. We don't need to depend on China. We have more potential than any other country. We have the technical youth. We have that innovation startups which can work out in the apps and the video conferencing apps, which are more safe, more secure, and which are more informative, and which are more user friendly. So I hope in days to come, we as a teachers, we as industrialists, we as responsible citizens or the netizens of the country will be taking more responsibility on our shoulders, and will be making our country free from the cyber criminals and the cyber frauds. So I thank you all, and I wish you all the best, and happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bahel. On behalf of Shri Kushaldas University, Hanumangarh, Rajasthan, I extend my thanks to Dr. Bahel, Gaurav Murgai, Emmanuel, Vigar Ahmed, and Piyush for your sparing valuable time for this webinar. And I hope from this webinar, many people learn about the many things, and they know how to protect their mobiles, their Wi-Fi, their computers, and all the things. Thank you once and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I also thank all, and I also thank Dinesh Juneja ji for organizing this event. Thank you.